Hi, I'm Chris Miglino. I'm the CEO and founder of SRAX, and I want to thank you for being with us here today at the Ladenburg Technology Expo. We're excited to not only be presenting here today, but to lending our platform to the process of running this virtual conference. We missed being in person, but we hope this is the best opportunity to be together. Our SRAX is in the business of helping public companies with what we like to call the premier operating system for public companies. We provide a dashboard that allows public companies to do everything they need to do in managing their shareholder base, managing employee options, managing a variety of other tools. And at the core of all of this that we've put together is the Sequire platform itself. So we have a platform. Inside that platform, we provide a login. It's a SaaS platform that companies can log in. They can provide access to their IR teams, to their marketing teams, their CEO, CFO, human resources, a variety of different people that would have access and utilize the platform. Outside of the core platform itself, we also operate technology that allows us to run virtual conferences and virtual events. So companies can use our platforms to do all of their earnings calls. They can use our platforms to do all of their conferences that they may have. And then we throw physical conferences. We own a conference called LD Micro, and we throw a few big conferences a year. It's the premier microcap conference that's out there. And what we're able to do is we're able to bring both investors and companies together and help them learn about each other. And we're creating a community around all of this. And so around all of that stuff that we've done, we create this individual community that's out there, and which will be a big part of our 2022 growth, is building up the community itself. We've had some major accomplishments in this quarter, which I think are notable. One thing to mention is we took a piece of our business that was in a different vertical, and we spun it off to its own public company. That's called Big Token. And that public company trades on its own, and we're in the midst of doing a transaction where we will become a smaller shareholder in that company, and we're moving our position to a position that will allow us to deconsolidate their financials from ours. So we talk about our financials in a consolidated basis and an unconsolidated basis. So this will be the last quarter where we have consolidated financials. So here we have, we've had a revenue growth of 219% consolidated, but Sequire on its own, the way that our business will be post deconsolidation, we've had a 283% gain in revenue. We had quarter over quarter growth of 8% consolidated and 5% Sequire on its own. We hit our revenue guidance for Q3 of 8.3 million. We actually did a little bit more than that. We gave guidance for Q4 of 10.1 million, which is going to get us to a year number of around $31.5 million. SRAX on its own, so Sequire, the Sequire business that's on its own without the consolidation, did around $1 million in EBITDA for the quarter. So that's fantastic. We have had 12 consecutive quarters of growth, of revenue growth for our Sequire platform. We increased the number of our Sequire clients from 225 to 250. And that's 250 people subscribing to the platform. We have, we talk about bookings in our business because our contracts are year-long contracts. And so our bookings for the quarter were $8.9 million. But really the news is that's the bookings for Q3. The bookings for Q4 were $12.5 million so far. So far, as of our earnings call, which was yesterday, we've booked $12.5 million in new business that's going to run this year and into next year. We think that we'll also book another 4 million through the end of the quarter. So I think we'll end up with 16.5 million in bookings for the quarter, which is more than any other month that any other quarter that we've ever sold. We're holding approximately $29 million worth of marketable securities in the company. So the company itself gets paid in both cash and stock, but on the stock side, we take that stock in, we hold that stock. We have around $29 million worth of stock. We have around $7 million worth of cash on hand. Our Sequire revenue for existing contracts, just contracts without renewals, just new contracts that we've signed, around $16.5 million. With renewals, it's much higher than that. So we're starting off 2022 with a fantastic base, and I think we'll be in line to give some revenue guidance at the end of this quarter. This slide here shows the revenue and EBITDA growth of the Sequire and SRAX business, less our big token element. So here you have, we grew from Q1 from 4.5 million, then we went to 6.8, then we went to 7.5. We anticipate that in Q4, while we're giving guidance of 10.1, that still includes a piece of this business. They'll be consolidated until probably this week or next. And so you have around 9.4 million for the quarter. Then if you look at our EBITDA, we did 530,000, then it went to 1.4 million, and then we did around 1 million in this last quarter. And the reason that we had a little bit dip in the EBITDA is that we had one-time costs associated with spinning off this other business, and we also filed a number of patents that cost a bunch of money. This is our bookings. This is how we keep track of where we're going to be in the business. And as you can see here, Q4 is by far the best quarter we've ever had in the history of Sequire. We've booked $12.5 million so far. We're about to hit, we think we'll hit around 16.5 million for the quarter. So that's a very solid number for us, and it continues to grow. And this is proving that there's a lot of people that are interested in the business itself. Our subscriber growth has increased significantly over the last few quarters. So you're talking, 225 to 250, and from a year ago, that's actually a double over the year ago. So that's, we hope to keep that trend up. You can see what the numbers look like here. We did around $7.5 million in revenue for the quarter. That's when you back out this other company that we had consolidated with us. We did 7.5. We had EBITDA of around 940,000, and that's over a loss of 1.4 million just last year. This is a look at our share count. So we have 25.6 million shares outstanding at the end of the last quarter. We have a little bit of convertible debt, around $1 million worth of convertible debt left, and that's and then we have around 10 million warrants, most of which expire in 2022, and then we have some employee options that are out there. This is a screenshot that is from inside the Sequire platform. You can see here that currently SRAX has $16.2 million worth of warrants that are in the money, that if the stock stays in anywhere above 350 through October, that the company will see another $16.5 million in cash come into the business. We also have 4.5 million shares that expire in January of next year. So around 60 trading days away from around 4.5 million shares, either being exercised at above 750 or expiring. So we don't need the cash. So if they did expire and went away, that would get rid of that dilution. But if they did get exercised and the stock did have a run, you would be looking at around another $40 million in cash coming into the business. But this is a tool that we have built into the Sequire platform that helps companies understand who's engaging in their stock. So once somebody exercises their warrants, where do those shares go? Where do they put them? What bank are they at? How are they trading them? How fast are they getting out of them? We have insight into all of that. This is another piece of the Sequire platform that tells you all of the institutional ownership. So this is very table stakes to institutional and large cap investors. But as what you can see here for SRAX is we grew from 600,000 a year ago to around 5.2 million at the end of Q2. Q3 is now showing us that we're getting close to around 7 million in institutional ownership. So what's interesting here is that not only do we have now $7 million worth of institutional ownership, but we have also insiders that are not filing. So we have insiders that, like myself, that own shares, but we also have hedge funds that are smaller that don't need to file. That represents around another 9 million shares. So if you combine those together with 7 million, you're looking at around 16 million shares out there, leave you around 9 million shares that are actually in the float. We have 153 employees within the organization, mostly technology centric. We are very, very heavily technology oriented, and we're constantly building and evolving. We have a whole year pipeline of products that are ready to go. Our team does a fantastic job. We have a great community. We have a great culture inside the business, and we're very appreciative of all of our employees for getting us to where we are. We have some new features that we launched inside the platform this quarter, and I'm going to tell you about some of them. We launched a product that allows companies to launch their own IR website. So you as a issuer can build your own IR websites from within the Sequire platform. So you can very easily build your own IR site, and it doesn't cost anything else for them to do that. It's all built into the platform and pulls all the data that is necessary from within the platform itself. We've also added the ability for public companies to monitor all of their short interest so that they can look at where they are on a daily basis on their short to float ratio, and also what their borrow rate is. What are people paying to borrow their stock, right? That's an indication of whether or not there's a high demand to borrow the stock or not. So we've set up the platform in a way so that we can understand what the value of that borrow rate is. And we present that to our clients on a daily basis. One thing that we announced yesterday, and this is super exciting, is our product called Vera. It's a virtual IR assistant. So it's an IR chatbot that companies can put onto their own website, and then people can start chatting with it. Publicly available information will be presented within the chatbot. So it'll take all of the information about all the different companies and present that data back to the person that's in the system asking questions. So what's your revenue, or what was your earnings last quarter, or what were your who's your directors, and it'll answer all those questions for the investor on the site, so they don't need to bother the IR team or the IR company. We have this product that we launched this quarter for SMSs. You're able to SMS all your shareholders. You do that right through the platform, so you can just pull all the data and you can SMS out right to all your shareholders. And then last quarter, we announced we launched this product called microcaps.com. While we announced it last quarter, in the second quarter and the third quarter, we got 200,000 unique visitors a month to the site. We became the first listing on, if you search for microcaps on Google. And so that is driven a lot of traffic to the site. And we're launching a lot of video content here and a lot of exposure for all of the companies that are participating in the Sequire platform. And we own a business called LD Micro. LD Micro is a large microcap conference. It happens a couple of times a year, but what we've proven in October of this year is that live events are back. We did a conference. We had over 750 people in person at the conference, and we had 12,000 people virtually attending the conference online. So this combined created a hybrid event of people that weren't willing to make the travel and people that really were looking forward to seeing other investors and other companies interacting with people. So we're looking forward to a full slate of conferences this next year. We have a clean tech conference that's coming up in December, a natural resources conference that's coming up in January, and then ongoing conferences with LD Micro. Here's a little bit of a financial review to go over our what we did in the quarter in more detail. So, as I mentioned before, the 7.6 number is a number I was showing earlier, but if you put in the consolidated company, you have an additional $765,000 of revenue, which brought us to a total of $8.3 million for the quarter. We had gross margins of around 78%. We had adjusted EBITDA of negative 790. So that's negative 790 is the combined companies together. So as you can see that the Big Token business is losing money, while it's an amazing opportunity of consumers being able to own their own data, it's a completely separate business, and they'll be on their own here in the next week. This is to show you a little bit about the liquidity that we have and the number of marketable securities. So you can see here that at the end of Q3, we had 6.8 million in cash, marketable securities of around $18 million. We did a one-time dividend of $6.5 million worth of stock to our shareholders, and we moved that stock into a separate account. So that gives us a total of around $31 million worth of marketable securities that are out there. As you can see, from Q2 to Q3, we reduced our debt position from $3 million down to $1 million. So we have a lot less debt now. We get paid a lot by companies paying us in stock. So we love being partners with our issuers, and a lot of them will pay us in their own currency. At the end of Q2, we had $24.1 million. We sold $4.7 million worth of securities in the quarter. We then took $6.3 million worth of that and moved it off the balance sheet into a designated account. And then we had a change in fair value of around $3 million to the negative side. Then we received an additional $8.7 million before the end of the quarter, and that left us with $18.2 million worth of marketable securities, plus the $6.3 million that we've set aside into a separate account. So that $18.2 million worth of stock is what we had at the end of Q3, but subsequent to that, we've received an additional $11 million in stock. So we have a total of $29.2 million worth of marketable securities in the platform. And we sell these stocks as we can without hurting our customers. We let them out slowly, and we don't need the cash immediately. So we take our time in selling the stock out into the marketplace, but definitely with the idea of monetizing the stock. This is an update on a dividend we did. So instead of us just selling the shares themselves, we took $6.5 million worth of that stock, moved it into a preferred share, and are now selling those shares into the marketplace. The payments will happen at 30 days after the end of every quarter. So we declared this dividend on September 20th. By the time everything got done with the SEC and everything was filed, it was the end of September. So we really didn't get to sell anything. We've been selling in the fourth quarter. Whatever we sell in the fourth quarter will be distributed at the end of 30 days after the end of January. So people can expect to receive something at the beginning of the year. And this is a return of capital as well. So it's not a taxed item. So you're not going to get taxed on this because it's a return of capital. So the last thing that we're doing is SRAX is launching a scholarship fund in honor of Malcolm Casal. Malcolm was a board member of ours and was also a really good friend of mine. Malcolm unfortunately passed away earlier this year, and we miss him a lot. One of the things that Malcolm loved to do was to help kids that were really smart but were underprivileged and couldn't afford to pay for college. He would both mentor them personally and financially. And so in his honor and in our giving back to the community in Mexicali, where we have a number of employees, we are providing the opportunity for scholarships to really smart kids that are interested in technology near and around our Mexicali office. So we look forward to sharing this with all of our people and all of our employees who are super excited about this initiative and are getting involved in it, and just excited to give back, because we've had what could amount to just an unbelievable year, and we anticipate that 2022 will be just as fantastic. So thank you very much. I appreciate the time today to tell you a little bit about SRAX, and if you have any questions, please reach out and let us know. Thank you very much.